Yo, you already know what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of Thinker versus Speaker, where I, Marissa the Thinker, sit down with different guests and we talk about all things, anything, everything, life, love, relationships, spirituality, literally whatever we want to talk about. So if you're into that type of thing, make sure you strap up, tune in, and prepare yourself for the show. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about any and everything, you know what I'm saying, sometimes we do cover sensitive topics, so if you easily triggered, go ahead and take this as your general trigger warning. I don't know what's going to be triggering to you, so if something comes up and you don't like it, do what you need to do. But I mean, we do talk about different things every week, so hopefully you come back next week and you see what we're talking about. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today is going to be a little different. I'm not sitting down with one guest, I'm sitting down with two guests. So I got Mr. Saying What I'm Saying. I got my dad in the building. And then I also got Keep It 100. I got Ashton back in the building. So first off, let's start with my dad. Dad, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Another day we made it through work. It's always a good thing.
Yep, it's another happy Monday. Ashton, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, you did. It's something about the way you said that. I'm gonna leave that alone on.
I'm good for the time being, but I'm good.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it. We gonna let that ride out. But you know what I'm saying? Today we wanted to talk about where we come from a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no full-fledged plan. Let's be honest. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today is one where we get to shoot the shit a little bit. So today is a day where we get to talk about where we come from. We all from St. Louis. Each and every one of us, you know what I'm saying? Born and raised. Born and raised. So we gonna talk about like how it changed then versus now. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dad, I'm gonna start with you because not to put you out there, you the oldest, but you know what I'm saying? Like what what's your thoughts about the city, you know what I'm saying, and like how it changed since you know what I'm saying? You've got to see more of it than we have. You know what I'm saying? What was it like for you growing up in St. Louis?
Uh, to me, St. Louis was great. It's like me growing up in St. Louis, we did certain things, and it's like we grew up when I was born. We grew up in the projects, and the projects to me, as a kid, I didn't know it was projects. Like if you ever like look at Good Times and stuff like that, to me it was just like high rise apartments. Green grass, people played. It was white neighbors. It was different types of neighbors, old, young, family. It was mostly families. And it was just great. People was working, but they was in the project. And then we went to school. My sister and them, they went to school over there. Well, I was young, so I just went to Head Start over there. But they went to Peabody Elementary off of 11th Street, and it was cool. It was like a neighborhood. It was just like neighbors watching out for each other.
Y'all
And
was
I
in
remember,
Peabody?
yep, we was in Peabody.
That's crazy.
And I remember like it was probably 67 or 68. It was just the white lady lived across the house because how the projects was, the high rises was, uh, it was like four apartments, two across from each other. And it was an older white lady lived across from that. And somebody went in there at the time, it was like 1967, 68, and I remember they robbed the little old white lady. I probably was like 3 years old. And they beat the white lady. And that was my first experience with crime, you know, to see that, and then our kids had to get out the projects and stuff like that. And so that's when you dealt with, like, when you're young, you're thinking to yourself, why somebody got to, rob somebody first and then go and beat them up. Let's say you already got their money or whatever, taking their belongings, and then you got to beat them up. So that was an experience. And then we moved over in North St. Louis off of Turner Avenue between Fair and Lee. And that was the first time I, was in houses and we had green grass and it was beautiful. Like, I mean, you go through that now, it don't look the same, but all the houses was manicured. All the people was out there always taking care of their house and stuff like that. You walk down the street, you had different parts. You had O'Fallon Park and Fairground Park. And we just grew up, man, where all the kids, I remember we used to play baseball and football with different, like we stayed on Turner and we would play Lee Avenue, or we would play Clarence, or we would play Redbud. And that's how you grew up. It wasn't games, it was just neighborhoods and the people in the neighborhood. And then you go to school and stuff, and then you play with your partners, then you go back, and in the summer you play with your neighborhood. It was crazy. It was always crazy, and that's who you ran with. You ran with the people in your neighborhood, And so if something happened, so St. Louis always, my experience coming up, as a youngin was always great, because all my experience was nice. Like I was saying one time, back then in the 70s, people went to work. You ain't see people hanging out on corners, doing certain things. Man, people went to work. You had a big brother, they was in high school, they was working. Your mother may have been at home, your daddy was working. You ain't have nobody out. You ain't have liquor stores like we had the 905, So you had like one, what I'm saying? You had the 905, that was your major liquor store. It would probably be a 905 on Natural Bridge. Then you might have got another 905 up out Goodfellas. And that's how they were spread out, and then you can get you some beer at the grocery store. You have all these corner liquor stores and everything. It was a design to mess up neighborhoods and put liquor in those neighborhoods. And then when also get drugs in neighborhoods. It's a design to put us where we at. But I know, man, I'm just talking. Y'all go ahead.
It's kind of crazy that you said that too, because that was the part that kind of shocked me when we moved here to Texas. Like when you go to the grocery stores, because when I was older, we moved to Texas when I was like 25. So I was accustomed. Like you could go to Snooks and get a bottle. Like you could go to Snooks and get a bottle, like a real life bottle, and then you come down here and it's just like they only sell hard liquor at the liquor store. And it's just
Hell
like,
yeah.
what? They all sell liquor on
Tequila.
Sundays? What? What? What you
Right.
talking about?
You only gonna get some wine and some beer and some wine coolers.
Yeah.
Nah, you go to Texas, you go up in there, you finding some Casamigos, some tequila, you finding everything you need.
At the liquor store, not nowhere else though. For real. You gotta go to the liquor store though. But I saw you shaking your head while my dad was talking. What was that? What was that?
I mean, me growing up, like I ain't that old. I ain't that old. Like I'm not, I'm 30. I'm 30, I'll be 32. But me like growing up like early 90s, like we had childhood, like we was all outside. It wasn't really like no crime or nothing like that until about 20, I say 13, 14, where it got bad. Like 2014 is where it got bad in St. Louis. And like after high school, I left. I ain't lying. Like I ain't left because I was scared and nothing like that. It was just like St. Louis got bad. And it was like you can't go to school out here, you can't do nothing because the schools was going bankrupt, schools was shutting down. There's a lot of stuff that was going on in St. Louis that was like as I was younger, that was cracking, not cracking no longer because kids messing it up or like in the school systems. That's why most of the schools got shut down due to the school systems and credited. Not half of the schools in St. Louis was not credited. That's why most of the schools in Missouri and St. Louis are shut down. They was not accredited. So us going to school, getting most of our credits at the high schools that wasn't accredited, I feel that's where the school systems and just everything as a whole in St. Louis, like the government was like, our state wasn't doing anything for us. It's like they'll reach out to other states before they'll reach out to our main state. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
They'll help everybody else before they help our city.
yeah, but that was, you know what? That was designed, man. I remember going to school and well, when we went to school, like in your neighborhoods, you had your elementaries, but you had your high schools. You had Beaumont, Vashon, Central, Northwest, Sodan,
Beaumont.
Southwest, Roosevelt, and Cleveland, right? So those was the high schools that you had in different. And you from St. Louis, so you know where all those high schools was at. And
Yeah.
in those high
But
schools, yeah, go ahead.
I thought like you said Central. That you talking about visual and performing arts. That was the school that you had to like I wanted to go to that, but you had to that was the school for the gifted. How can I say it? That was a what does they call it?
Now, see, you
Fine
talking
art
about it.
school. Like
You
that was,
talking about
but
it.
it was on.
You talking about a different time. When I'm talking about in the 60s and the 70s, those were just high schools that was in
Oh,
neighborhoods.
Central was just a high school then?
Central was
Oh,
just a
cause
high
now
school. Yeah. Central was just a high school. That was it. They called Central. You had Northwest High School. You had
yeah,
those high
Northwest.
schools that we named. And in those schools, man, all the teachers was tenured. So you familiar with, tenure. So you had
Mm-hmm.
good teachers. You had good teachers, man. You had that good teachers, then they was in the union. Because back when I was going to school, like they used to have school teacher strikes because they used to
Mm-hmm.
want more money, and stuff like that. And that was a good thing and that was a bad thing. But understood, teachers was fighting for their right to teach and to make more money. And St. Louis decided that they was gonna get out of that type of education. For one thing, if they could get rid of good teachers like that, you had students which was African Americans wasn't gonna learn. Because I put my education up with anybody when I was growing up in the public. They was teaching us. We took algebra, trigonometry, elementary functions, geometry. We took all those things and was learning. And then they had trade schools. Back when O'Fallon Tech was a trade school. And everybody that went to those high schools I named, also Vashon, everybody could go either in the morning or the afternoon and go to O'Fallon Tech. And they used to catch buses. Like my brother, he went to O'Fallon Tech for 4 years straight. He
Which
would take
one?
huh?
Which one?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry.
Oh,
He took auto mechanics, right? So what they did, and this was all the high schools, like if you wanted to be an electrician, air conditioning, auto mechanic, construction worker, they taught that at O'Fallon Tech. You see, it was trades, plumber, it was trades. So you went to your high school for like 3 to 4 hours in the morning and took your basic classes like math, English, social studies, history. And then you got on the bus, you went to O'Fallon Tech, and then you stayed there for 4 hours and you did your trade. And you did that. That's how people learn. That's how you had when they was coming out of high school. Then they went to stuff like Bailey Tech and stuff like that. And they had colleges for trades. You don't even see trade schools no more. See, because that's where we could learn stuff and learn a trade and start businesses and stuff. Stuff was designed for us not to have businesses and not to do stuff because they eliminated that type of education.
and that's
And they knew what they was doing.
and that's crazy that you think about it. See, because I know we had it because of course I went to one. So, and I never thought about it in the terms that you're saying it, because it's just like I don't know. I don't know if the city has trade schools. I know
Well,
we have them in the county because you
right.
have to be in
The
the county.
city had they had triple C, like that was a trade school, like it was a high school. It was career construction. It's
Career
triple C
Academy, right?
stood for
Yeah.
something, but no, you had career academy. Then you had another high school that was triple C. It was like all electives. You could go learn construction, some other stuff, and it's just like a elective school. But it was a high school as well.
I think we went there for something, but I can't remember what we went there for. I think I do know what you're talking about. And
Because you gotta wear steel toe boots all year.
that's wild. That's wild. But like, cause even when we went to school, like my reasoning for going to tech wasn't because I wanted a trade. I never thought of, I never really considered the importance of the trade that I was learning when I went to tech. It was literally to get away from Riverview, who had just lost their accreditation. That's
Right.
why I went. That was literally the reason why I went. And it was the reason why I went for a day. Now, granted, there were some people who, you know what I'm saying, went for things because, like, we did have electrical, construction, graphic design. We had all of those things at my school. I learned drafting, we had culinary, all of that. And we did get, excuse me, like the certifications and all of that kind of stuff. But it was never really presented to us like, oh, this is a viable option for you to go start a career. It
Right.
was literally
Yeah.
just a means to an end. Like, this is a school that you can go to if you don't want to go to your main school.
Yeah. But see, North Tech and South Tech, that was for county schools.
Right. Yeah.
What I'm saying was O'Fallon Tech was for
For the city.
strictly
Yeah.
for the city, right? And they eliminated that because Punkin went to O'Fallon. They changed that into a regular high school back
Oh,
in 19 back in it was back in 1979.
so
They
Fallon Tech is Gateway?
right, right.
Oh,
Damn, that's
But it
crazy.
was
I just know that to this damn, that's great. I just learned something new.
yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know
right.
that
Man.
either.
Yeah, it was O'Fallon Tech, and then in it stayed O'Fallon Tech, and then they changed the name. But people was going to high school because when we went to the 8th grade, that's when they gave everybody could go to O'Fallon, if they wanted to, opposed to going to their high school that was in their neighborhood or their region. So you had everybody that could live in South St. Louis or West St. Louis or Central St. Louis and over by Northwest. They could go and catch the bus. That was almost their first busing experience to go to O'Fallon. It changed into a public school. And then that's why then they just eliminate. They say, look, we're gonna start eliminating high schools and eliminating good teachers. And then that's when they got this what do you call it? The charter. It
Started.
wasn't charter schools, it was something else though.
See,
And
uh-huh.
say what?
See, because that's the other thing that you said that made me want to kind of like question it a little bit. Because when you think of something like, because as you were talking about teachers and teachers going on strikes, like that's a teachers union, and that's
Right.
something that you don't really, in my generation, we don't know too much about teachers unions. And like, is that the reason why they kind of went away from like the public schools to the charter schools? Because like,
Exactly. They could
because
hire anybody. They
yeah,
could hire they could hire anybody to be teachers. Like back in the day, when you had to go to school, then you had to be tested, and then you had to be accepted to get into those schools and them positions and stuff like that because you had them older teachers, right, and they were tenured. So just like in the colleges where you can't get rid of a professor after they tenure that 10 years. You had high school teachers was like that. So those spots was hard to come by. Well, they just eliminated the teachers. When they retired, then you can go get you any type of teacher. You go get a teacher that don't really want to have to teach you nothing. I mean, I remember back in the day. Let's be real. I used to have teachers when I went to Beaumont. You know, they didn't teach us history, right? But they taught us who we were. And what I mean by they taught us who we were, when you sitting in the class and stuff and you playing and stuff, we used to have them older teachers used to say, you know, it's white kids or whatever, they learn it and they stuff, and y'all sitting up here laughing and stuff. And then when you go to school and stuff, you're gonna have to compete with them and you can't even read. And man, for a kid, you know, that
Ooh.
motivated you. You know,
Ooh,
that motivated you because you
that's
thought
a
about that. See, you was getting that from your elders. But see, now you don't have that. When you got a teacher, then you start getting teachers, man, that was coming in right out of college. All they was making is their money. They ain't care if the kids' pants was sagging. They ain't care if the kid talked in class. They didn't care if the bullies bullied the kids. They just sat there and got their money. Then you got race. You got kids after kids after kids graduating and don't know how to read or write. And now we got them people functioning in this world like that. You
Yeah.
know, we got people that graduated and can't read, can't write, and then because we have them on the job that and this ain't a St. Louis thing. It's just
it's
a youth
everyone.
that they can't even read. You tell them stuff. Like on my job, you had to read the tape measure. Man, we almost had to draw pictures. You know, we all to teach them how to read a tape measure. Something they should have learned. In the sixth grade, they can't even read a tape measure,
That's
and
pretty
then they
bad.
want to, huh?
I said that's pretty bad.
And then they sit there and ask you, hey, you ever sat there? Like, you might not in your job, but I sat there, even the white ones, they be asking you how to spell certain words. You be like, man, you got to be kidding me. You know, you got to be kidding me. You can't spell that. Sound it off. I feel like the teacher. Sound it off, man. You going to ask me, do some work. And that's what they dealing with. They done got rid of all these teachers and stuff like that. So, and then especially when you black, and then the smartest kid in school, then when they go to college, they behind the eight ball because they really wasn't taught nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And see you saying that is actually making me think, because when it comes to certain stuff like that, it's almost like it's like certain things that you can't do anymore, right? Because when you said what you said about y'all sitting here laughing and joking, but you can't read, see, that hits you in the chest a little bit. Like
Hell yeah.
that's some tough love, you know what I'm saying? Because that'll have you like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like I know I can't read, you know what I'm saying? I know I can't read, and you know what I'm saying? We had some teachers that could do that. You know what I'm saying? Some teachers were that invested that they'll go ahead
Right.
and check you like that. And they were like us, you know what I'm saying? Like they knew us, they understood us, they knew where we came from and what we were up against, and they cared. And it almost makes me wonder, like in this day and age, it's just like it's almost like even if a teacher wanted to do something like that or wanted to, give you that tough reality check like that, it's almost like, can they even do it? Because you know what I'm saying? See, because then you got the parents that want to be like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? But who's gonna be the person that's gonna be honest? You know what I'm saying? Who's the person that's gonna be honest with you and really tell you what you are? Like,
But
mhm.
with that being said, like a teacher can tell a student that. It's just how they take it. So it's just like it's not necessarily the fact that I'm giving you it is constructive criticism, but it's 100%. I'm not coming to you telling you no lie. Like at the end of the day, like, hey, how you expect to move forward if you don't know how to read, if you don't know how to do none of that? How you expect to get away in life if you're not doing this? So, say for instance, that teacher was to tell it to me, I take it as motivation.
Right.
Some other person may take it as, oh, this lady calling me
Right.
stupid. I'm finna go get my mama. It's finna be some other, but it's not to It's not her coming off to you as, hey, I'm calling you stupid, I'm helping. It's a word of wisdom. That's the word. It's a word of wisdom. So basically, never bite the hand that feeds you. Basically, she's giving you words of encouragement. Basically, like, hey, I know you got the potential to do it. Go ahead. I'm here to help you. That's
Right.
basically the person reaching out, giving you help if you need it. But you taking it in the aspect of something that is not.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but see, that's how. But see, that's the difference between the times that you lived in. Because what I'm saying is, when they said that to us, you know, it was a black and white world. Okay, so that motivated me through my whole life, even now. Because even now, when I walk somewhere with my head held high, when I go on my job, I go on the street, I know what people think of us, you know. So it's an image that I have to carry. It's the way that I have to be because I know how they, think of us. So, and it always, like you said, it will motivate you. It motivated me to not be that person, that stereotype that they thought about, you know. And those teachers did that too. And I think that's what we be missing now, like in everything. Like people just don't care, you know. Like, even back home, we was talking about St. Louis, and I know I got on education, but I think like now, right now in St. Louis, I just think it's just a lot of people just don't care. That's why you got the
Yeah.
kill and things like that, and that's I think that's the difference. When I was growing up, I think people cared. Like the lady down the street could whoop my ass if I did something wrong. Because my parents was that type of parents that knew that the lady would know that she was taking care of me and trying to save my life. But now if you even say something to these kids and look at them
They gonna
wrong,
shoot you.
yeah, they
They gonna shoot you.
13-year-old mama gonna come and get you. That's the difference.
Right. Right. And that's the part that always gets me when you think about things like this. And this even goes beyond, you know what I'm saying, St. Louis. This is in like a lot of major inner cities, especially when you see a lot of black on black crime. It's almost like we got to a point somehow, some way where we don't care. We don't care about ourselves, let alone each other. You know what I mean? Like, because if the way that I see it, if you, one, it's a lot of people out here that can't handle that criticism, that tough love, you know what I'm saying, that people want to bring. Like you said, it's almost like we from St. Louis, so we already know what it is. It's almost like if you say the wrong thing to somebody, it's a wrap. It's
Yeah,
almost
over
like you
with.
don't know what you can or what you can't say. Like, it's almost like we got this mentality where it's just like, look, just mind your business. Just mind your
Yeah.
business. Don't intervene.
That.
Mind your
And, and, my,
business.
and my man said something. He said, when he left St. Louis and stuff, and I forgot how you said it, but I wanted to say, I was like, I think that the one thing I got from people from St. Louis is this how I equate it. And I know it's going to sound wrong, but it's just how I feel. Like when you grow up in St. Louis, and you living in there, it's like being in a prison, and
Hell
I ain't
yeah.
saying that, but I ain't saying that in a bad
It's
way. I'm
not
just
saying
saying,
it in a bad way, but it's a good
when you
thing.
in the
It's
prison, when you in the prison, you gotta watch your do's and don'ts, and you gotta watch out for yourself, and you gotta make sure you hang with the right people if you want to live. And it's just the way that you have to carry yourself and conduct yourself, and you know what areas to go to, and all these different things,
It's a
and
silent
I
code.
and
was
that's how
just
you
in
have to live your life there. And the people, and like the people that get got, it's the people that slip, that for a split second they slip, because it's so many times at home, like I see some stuff that coming my way, and I'll be like, nah, this ain't right. I'm gonna get out of here, or I'm gonna
that's
make this move. I'm gonna go to the left, and then you look and then you know that you just saved your own life by not being in the area and doing something.
All
But
right.
that's what I equate it to. Anybody from the loop, I just be like, us niggas been in life prison. That's how you grow up. You let's learn how to make it. You learn how to, then you go somewhere else. It ain't quite like that. Some areas ain't quite like that. Cause down here, I don't have to carry my gun and have it on my lap and be ready at every instant. But I know people back home
You
that
can't even stop
died,
at a stoplight. You can't even
yeah.
stop at a stoplight.
In St. Louis, man, we was just in I just left St. Louis not too long ago, like last week. And it was a confrontation I knew the person third party, but I knew both parties that was involved in the situation. So it's a person that was from out of town. I'm like, bro, you can't come to the city on some shit like that. So dude asked him, but dude got mad. I don't know, dude was tweaking, whatever the freak the situation may be, you understand? But he ain't had no cigarettes. He was going into the store to get some cigarettes. I don't smoke, but he was going to get some squares. I guess dude asked him for a square. He ain't had no square at that point in time. Dude started tweaking, was like, if you do woo out the wind, whatever the situation may be. Dude from Chicago, he come on in hot boy. I don't care who you are, what you on, bro. You feel me? Like, I don't care what you on. It ain't finna happen in that, boy. I'm like, bro. So I get a phone call like, hey, where you at? Because at this point, I'm with my mama. So I get a phone call like, hey, where you at? Woo, woo, woo. So I had to go towards that way, like, whoop. And then it's my homeboy. You feel me? But I don't like being in St. Louis, if that makes sense. I don't like hanging around certain people. So I don't like to be seen. But it just so happened you in my neck of the woods. Woo, woo. All right, I'm like the homeboy. I'm like, hey, bro, you can't be doing this shit out here. He's like, man, I'm like, oh, he's like, dude. I said, man, he good. Just let him go. Just let him go. Whatever the
Bruh,
situation is, just let him go.
bruh.
Just let him go. So, and then like I'm trying
You
to
saved
tell him, like,
somebody life that day, and they don't even know.
right, and I'm trying to tell him, and so I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, bro, dude, you tripping? He's like, man, dude ain't got no thump on him. What I'm saying, man, you want to bet? I said, how much you want to bet? Nigga got two on him, not in one, but two. How much you want to bet? He was like, all right, I said, I'm finna call dude. I called dude. I'm just playing. I'm like, hey, bro, let me hold some real quick. He talking about what you need. You need this and this. I was like, man, I don't need nothing. I'm just making a point. And he was like, oh, stop playing, bro. You already know I had him on. I said, bro, see, your life would have been gone right there. You test them motherfuckers. Like, I'm telling you, these niggas stay strapped out here. Like, for real.
It
And they
ain't
don't
no
care.
joke. Right. It ain't no
And
joke.
just cause you with me don't mean nothing, bro. The only reason why they doing it is out of respect, bro. Oh, you know, dude, but hey, if I see you by yourself, bro, you try some other shit, next time he ain't gonna be able to save you.
But on that, what you saying, and you absolutely right. The thing about what you saying, like, if he go back today and cross dude, he gonna get dealt with. And it ain't even, it was back in the day, people used to be like, man, I'm just gonna leave that alone, But you know what I'm saying? Not bygones be bygones, but I ain't gonna
It
even
could be,
deal with
it don't even gotta be that. It could be 3 years from now. You gotta think about
it.
it. We from St. Louis right now. It could be 3 years from now. Nigga cross your path, that situation gonna come up. Bow.
He ain't gonna,
They
cause he
don't
ain't
know
gonna
nothing.
forget.
They don't
Right.
know nothing about it. You feel me?
They
So at
don't
the end of the
forget.
day, it's an open case. It's an open case for what reason?
Yeah,
For what reason?
we don't let
And
it
then
go.
we ain't gonna understand the reason, and then we gonna have to think about it like, damn, what the fuck did this nigga do to? Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That shit happened 3-4 years ago,
Right.
bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. You sitting in the living room talking about it couldn't have been that shit for 3 years
Man,
ago.
it could like you like damn, but it's like it really do be that shit. Like for real.
And
Oh
real
And
yeah.
it's crazy.
and that just goes to show how much that we value life. We value life. You know
Well,
what
but
I'm
it's a
saying?
reason. It's a reason we gotten like that though, listen. You
Let's talk
understand what I'm
about it.
saying?
Yeah.
It's
But
a
you
reason why we don't value life. It's a upbringing. It's a respect for, if you don't respect your own parents, what you care about the next man that's walking down the street for, the next
that
woman. You if you don't care nothing about your mama, you damn sure ain't gonna care nothing about me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of all of the stuff that we walk around and we carry that we don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's all of the things that we dealt with. You know what I'm saying? It's literally being a product of our environment and accepting it as normal instead of questioning like, why the hell are we doing this shit to each other? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Nobody asks the question. You know what I'm saying? Something that sticks out in my mind when it comes to where we come from. It's like the mentality of St. Louis. It's like that we got the perfect motto. Missouri does. It's the show me state. We couldn't
Oh, and
have had
we
a more perfect motto ever. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't have had a more perfect motto because literally nobody is going to believe anything until they physically see it with they two eyes. They say, "Oh, you want to be a rapper? We'll believe it when we see you at the Grammys." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, "Oh, you want to do this? Oh, we'll believe it when we see it." You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, we gonna doubt. Nah, he ain't gonna do that. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Nah, we ain't gonna accomplish that. Nah, 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 nah. And you know what I'm saying? And it's a reason why we like that. It's because one, like either people have lost faith in themselves, lost faith in their surroundings. I don't really know. I don't
it
know.
go
I, I
go
don't.
back to how they was raised, man.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
go back to their parenting.
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, I'm about to keep it 100. You could be brought up in a project and don't be no street nigga. That's 100%.
that's a fact.
So
Right.
you can't blame the projects. You can't blame. It's the way how you raise. Like at the end of the day, there are some parents that's out there, even though due to circumstances, they're staying in the projects, but they making it do what it can do for their kids to make sure, you ain't taking your ass outside. You ain't nothing. They making sure that they kids got the right head frame. But at the end of the day, it's up to them kids because at the end of the day, they still around that environment. They still gonna see it, whether it's at school, whether they step outside, whatever the situation may be, it's gonna be around it. So it's that temptation, but it's up to them to
To
be
break
on that
themselves.
path. So yeah. So at the end of the day, it's not like, and I hate that everybody be like, all niggas be like, oh, my daddy wasn't in my life, or I had to do this. That's a fucking, excuse my language. That's a
Yeah,
freaking excuse.
yeah.
That's an excuse, bro. A
Because
hundred percent.
it's so many people that overcome those obstacles. It's so many people that overcome those odds. And that's the part. See, the last time I went home, it was a different experience for me because I was invigorated. Because like the thing about St. Louis is, and I don't think that we realize how amazing that we are sometimes. Because like we have some of the most creative, you know what I'm saying? We have some of the most creative, inventive, like, you know what I'm saying, most talented people you could ever find walking around the city and they don't believe in themselves. And that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about like I was looking, I got Scissor album cover right behind me.
She from St. Louis.
She
I ain't
from
even know
St.
that.
Louis. Exactly.
I ain't even know
But,
that
but
until she had the Blues jersey on.
she
I'm like,
had the
man, why she
blues
repping our
on.
city on, bro? And somebody said she repping the city hard. I'm like, I know disrespect. I'm like, she ain't from the city.
Yes, she
Looked it
is.
up. She ain't from the city, and she be
That's
out there heavy.
That's what I'm saying. You got to think about all of the people that are from St. Louis. We got literal goats that come from St. Louis. One, Smino is like one of my favorite artists, period. If you don't know Smino, you need to go look up Smino. Like Smino ain't no rapper. Smino is an artist. Just point blank, period. Like Smino is one of the best out here doing it, but you gotta love music to know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So we got Scissor, we got Smino, you got Metro Boomin. My brother just put me on somebody. I forgot what his name is. Then you go back in time. You got Tina Turner. You got
Rest in peace.
yeah, you got Madam CJ Walker is from here. You got Annie Malone invented the hot comb. Like, come on. It's literal greatness that comes out this city. Like, you could literally go on and on and on and on. And then you think about some of the people that I talk to on this show, you got people that's doing dope things. You know what I'm saying? People that's doing dope things, went to the same high school we went to, got all different types of backgrounds and stuff like that. It's somebody that I was in kindergarten with that's like a state representative right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's another girl that I was went to high school who works in matter of fact, it was another girl I went to elementary school with. She was just on TV like a couple months ago. It was another girl that works in DC. It's literally people from St. Louis that beat the odds all the time.
Yeah, but Richie, it's you right. It's but you go back, there's people you don't even know that
Heck
that
yeah.
that was from St. Louis. Even you talk about tennis players like Arthur Ashe, you know,
He from St.
and
Louis?
yeah, he
Yep.
was from went to Sumner High School. You talk about Red Fox, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Red Fox was from St.
Cedric the
Louis.
Entertainer.
The goat guy and Joe Torre, you know,
Yep.
them guys were from U City. All these them were St. Louis and Richie. And it's people we ain't even talking about. Most times people was from St. Louis that went out to the West Coast and did. You know, it's people that in Hollywood that I don't even know their name. Your mama was telling me. Dude got the red hair that was on the
Oh, he was my principal brother.
right. Yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but you know, they go back. You just go back, man. It's amazing. It's amazing, but I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, they try to fail a city like St. Louis. You know,
Yeah.
you think about it, you have, you know, when you're African American, you get this many successful blacks coming up out the ground and making it like that, you know, despite help from the establishment. And I ain't saying like it's the establishment. I know we gotta do certain things, you know, but boy, we don't get much help. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you're saying too, because think about, because I was telling Marcus this, because I was talking about the Great Migration, right? So in the early when people were moving to get away from Jim Crow, right? To get away from the Jim Crow South, like post slavery and everything like that. It's just like when you think about all of these cities, you got to think about where a lot of Black people migrated to, right? So like some of the biggest epicenters um were like New York, right? Because you got the Harlem. That's where the Harlem Renaissance came from. Then you got, that's why it's a whole lot of us in Chicago. That's why it's a whole lot of us in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? You think
Tulsa.
all of them states, you know what I'm saying? And St. Louis was literally one of those epicenters for Black people. You know what I'm saying? It was literally a Black Mecca. Like even when you think about North St. Louis, South St. Louis, that's why all of us are in those areas, because when they built that up in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, those were our epicenters where we thrived.
No, them was white. Them was white. You knew where the blacks lived in
What was
St.
it?
Louis, where the arch was at.
Really?
Downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where the arch was at, it was row houses. Row houses, old Negro row houses. It was a community. It was hundreds, it was thousands of Black families. And when they built that arch, all that area downtown, they tore all that up, ran all the Black folks out. They put them in the projects. See, North St. Louis was white in the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. See, I can answer your history. Y'all up my alley. I can talk to you.
Let's go.
They used to have the thing in Fairground Park. If you look it up, it was the riots. They called it the Fairground Riots. It was a riots because it was like in the 1950s that it was some Black people wanted to go swimming in the swimming pool, and the white folks over there in North St. Louis lost their mind, and they had riots. They were trying to beat and kill Black folks. You know, the first White Castle was on Kings Highway. White Castle, they used to wear roller skates. Come out to the car. You know, the Herbert Hoover Boys Club, that was Sportsman's Park. That's where the Cardinals played. Them was all white neighborhoods right next to Sportsman's Park. They tore it down now, but it used to be a big building right there at Grand and St. Louis Avenue. It was called Carter. I think it was Bradley Carburetor or Carter Carburetor. I think it was Bradley Carburetor. It was one of the it built carburetors, and it was one of the high people got good jobs working there. That whole area on Grand there was nice, you know. The black folks wasn't in none of them places. Black folks wasn't in South St. Louis, North St. Louis, and everything. Black folks also wasn't in East St. Louis. East St. Louis was predominantly white.
Now that's hard to imagine.
East St. Louis was on the come up. Was real
that's
nice.
Really hard to imagine.
You better believe it. East St. Louis was nice. I worked with a white guy that just retired about 10 years ago now, that was born in East St. Louis, that went to East St. Louis High School, that they parents, you know, they was building that up, and then they decided to move over from the east side to the north side, then North County, then out to St. Charles. That was the plight of the white folks. They moved from North County to out to St. Charles, and the white folks that lived in South County, they moved south, out in South County, you know, and that's how they moved. And then the lower class whites, they stayed in South St. Louis, and then the black folks coming from the projects started moving over in the North City, and that was only in like the mid 60s, Marissa. Only in like the mid 60s, they started moving in North City. That's why it was so nice, because it was the first time that blacks could own a house, you know. See, that's why you got to understand, as black people act like we should be doing so much. We're not that far off from being from Mississippi and the shanty houses and stuff. Black people just start getting homes and stuff like that, and being able to send their kids to school and get decent educations. Whereas the white folks been doing this since the 1800s. They've been able to send their kids to universities and go to schools and be doctors and lawyers and everything. And this is new for us, although you're talking about maybe 50, 60 years, you know, and we doing some slipping in that time, you know, but it ain't even been 100 years. You know, people look back and say, well, you know, slaves got freed in 1862. But yeah, we wasn't free. You know, we couldn't vote. We couldn't get the jobs that we needed. We couldn't do things like that. So now, you know, you done went through things and opportunities coming up, and y'all got better opportunities, and your kids gonna have even more opportunities to make it. But in the meantime, if we ain't destroying ourselves and they helping us destroy ourselves, we doing a real good job. You know, so the people that's gonna make it just gonna have to make it, you know, and be successful and raise their kids. Like my man said, you know, it always gonna be somebody that make it. It always gonna be somebody that got a strong of one parent or two parent and teach their kids the right way. And what you gotta hope is it becomes more people teaching their kids the right way.
But that's hard.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be hard. It's just, I mean, you got to think about it. These babies have babies. Like, nowadays in society, and I ain't even trying to be funny, Like my mama, she 50, but I seen people who grandma like 30 something. Like I ain't even being no a-hole right now. Like I know somebody that's a grandma right now and she 30 something.
You absolutely right. Look. It's this lady that I was just telling my wife. This girl at work, she 30 years old. She'll be 30 on the 11th, and I'm be 60 years old, and Rissy will be 30th on the 16th. And I was like, man, how old your mama? You know, she because she the same age Rissy. So me thinking she was gonna say 50, 55. She say my mama is she 30, she say my mama is 46. And I'm like, damn, I'm old. You know? Here I is, I got Rissy and stuff. She 30, you 30, and I'm 60, and your mama 46. She say, well, she had it. I think, well, I can do the math. I know what she had when she was 16.
Yeah.
I say,
Right.
wow. Well, how old your grandmama? And she was like, the grandmama was, the grandmama was 60 something. I mean, and God, and I don't know if she had kids, but if she had kids, I'm like, man, you looking at 4 generations right there.
And
And the
that's
grandmama still, that's all young.
I
You
got
know,
I gotta
that's not okay.
I gotta say something. And it might be controversial to some. So here's y'all trigger warning for that. What are y'all thoughts on situations like that? Because I remember when we were growing up, and granted, my family was a lot more traditional. And again, I'm not saying this from a judgmental space. I'm saying it from a genuinely curious one. Now, when it came to things like that, you know what I'm saying? Our family didn't really condone that. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't condone that. Like we come from a family where it's just like you should be having kids when your life together. Like, you know what I'm saying? You should be having kids when you got your ducks in a row, preferably in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And with your ducks in a row. Like having kids when you like a teenager, whatever, it's just like, I mean, if it happens, it happens, but we ain't out here celebrating it. You know what I mean? And to a certain extent, it almost seems like it's almost becoming a norm. And I'm not saying like, of course, like things happen, right? But it almost got to a point where like nobody's saying anything. It's almost like we celebrate it, but it's almost like you've made your life harder in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You've made your life harder, not only for yourself, but of your children. And now we have normalized it to an extent where it's just like it literally is kids raising kids raising kids. And it's just like you having a kid and you ain't even figured out your own life yet.
well, I let my man go ahead. I got my thoughts on you, but you go ahead. I know you got something to say.
If people turning it off, at least it's at the end of the episode.
You
Man,
go.
I'm here. I'm here. I don't know, like because I gotta keep it PG. So basically, how I feel about it, and this is me being, it's crazy because at the end of the day, like you brought a traditional hours too. Like I ain't even think about no relationship, none of that until after high school. So it was just like I wasn't thinking about trying to do whatever. I had my mom was to get my education. My mom wasn't stuck on no females, none of that. But it's like you have to think it goes back to how people was raised and what they allowed in that house. So it's like you can't blame that child. You could blame that child, you could blame the person who they laid with, but at the end of the day, if they parents say that it's okay, you need to blame that parent.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, if they continually doing and it's to the days the kids not even sneaking no more. They parents know that they doing the dudes and whatever the situation may be. As
yeah,
long as you wearing protection or whatever, and it's to the aspect that these kids are having kids and they ain't even taking care of their own kids. Their grandparents are taking care of the kids, or they have their little brother or sister taking care of the kids. They can't even be kids themselves because oh my little brother taking care of a niece or a nephew or whatever the situation. So like these kids don't even have lives no more because they taking on the road. They being adults already. All right. It just goes with then the parents, or just say for instance that child, they'd be like, oh, I don't like kids, but you end up having a kid. Why? Or it's okay to do this or whatever. It's like the things that you saying that you don't like, you get into that situation. Like, you know, if you having intercourse, there's such things as let your mama know. Like if females, like I feel like if you young and you want these things, there's ways to work for you to prevent pregnancy or whatever the situation may be. If you do, if you're a female and your parent and a lot of that stuff, go ahead, go get birth control. They got the pills, they got the shot, they got the little implants, whatever. There's the 3 years, whatever. That's you safe with that. As a man, if you're trying to use it, there's protection. You can go up in there, buy any type of condom, any flavor, whatever the situation may be, whatever the circumstances you got for whatever situation you want. There's no reason for these accidents should be happening for you to allow somebody to do this. How can I say? I'm not gonna say raw, but uncensored. But there's ways to prevent it. But because I want to do this, you allowing them. Because I talked to you, or they don't have no feelings or no, or because I say something cute to you or whatever the situation may be, now we do it nasty. Don't none of y'all know how to control y'all nut. So boom.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I guess I was just raised different. So it's like one of those things where like it's harder for me to understand. So again, like I ain't really asking from a place of judgment. It's really just like I don't know where y'all come from and I'm trying to understand because like one as a woman, you know what I'm saying? I was raised like it was just I was I'm supposed to value myself in a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? And sex was just more than something that just feels good. You know what I'm saying? I've always known that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a reason that you can make a child by having sex. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's accidental. So granted, it wasn't one of those things where it was just like, oh, you just never have sex ever. It was one of those things like, now if you gonna have sex, make sure it's with somebody that you care about, that cares about you. You know what I'm saying? And if you're doing it, make sure that you do have protection or whatever like that. And honestly, sex ain't that important. Like sex should never be something that's that important in your life. You know what I'm saying? For you to be putting yourselves in those kinds of situations. Like, yeah, like you can have sex with whoever you want to, but it's better if you just wait for somebody that truly values you in some type of way. And it's almost like, are kids still getting raised that way? Or is it just like a look, if you out there doing what you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And it's just like, are we teaching ourselves that value that comes with that? Are you being taught to respect your body, make somebody else respect your body? Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Some people use it as a coping mechanism though.
That's true.
I know somebody who
That's
you
true. There's plenty
and
of people
it's
that do
sad.
it.
I know somebody who uses it as a coping mechanism and it gets on my nerves. And she be like, man, I'm finna go do this. I'd be like, bro, it's more ways to do things besides that. At the end of the day, the situation still gonna be there,
Mm.
regardless of the fact.
It's something psychological, and that's something that people don't understand sometimes too. It's very psychological because you almost doing it. It's a lot of reasons why people could be doing it, because one, you could be doing it for one, that dopamine, right? That effect that you get when you have that type of release, but it's also very temporary. You know what I'm saying? So some people are chasing that the same way like people use drugs. So they looking to get a high
Right.
from sex, from drugs, from whatever that they not getting from their everyday life. And they don't really know how to cope with life. So they find these unhealthy outlets to get it out. You know what I'm saying? And again, that does go back to how you raise, because if your parents are literally doing the same thing, why would they tell you anything different? You know what I'm saying? And that's how these things, in a way, truly get like normalized. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not to a point where it's just like, you know what I'm saying? And some people could literally be making themselves do it to feel better, because it's just like, well, the only way I'm gonna feel sexy is if somebody is like, you know what I'm saying? In that moment, you
That's
know what I'm saying?
and
That's
that's
the
why
only
she
way I
uses
feel
it.
loved. That's the only way I feel attractive. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's so many things going on psychologically that gets people to have these reactions. And these are the conversations that we are not having. The conversation is easier to just be like, well, if you're gonna fuck, use protection. Or if you're gonna do that, then put some, you know what I'm saying, use birth control or put something on. And some people are not even having those conversations. And they just go out and then they do whatever. And you know
So,
what I'm
so,
saying?
so who y'all think raising kids? Y'all think the parents raising the kids?
No, I mean, yeah, the parents
Some
not
people
raising the
raising
kids.
themselves.
The kids is raising, some kids raising they, like you said, some kids are raising themselves, or let's say another child is raising them, or their grandparent who is young is raising the kid. But you got to think about it. Even if the grandparent is raising the kid, they gonna have one of the aunties or somebody else go raise the kid. Because you got to think, if the grandparent go party
I think
too,
we get.
they got
I
to
think.
find another alternative babysitter.
I think we give the parents too much credit because I think, and this is just my opinion. I think the TV,
Mm-hmm.
this society,
Mm-hmm.
the radio, I think those things are raising people kids because those things, they make the trends that these kids want to be like or want to have,
Yeah.
just like, and they put that picture in their mind of what it looked like, what you should look like, how you should wear your hair, how you do your prom, how you get your wedding, everything. That's raising.
That's
That's who
deep.
raising. The media platform is raising your kids, and it's
Yep.
raising and it's even raising the parents
That's true.
because it used to be a time to where parents knew, like, that they knew what they needed to do to raise their kids. But I'm gonna go back and take it to the whole point of what you were saying. Back in the 1920s and 30s, everybody always had kids through slavery and everything. They was promiscuous, they had kids, they had adultery, they had kids, they had rape from their slave owners, they had kids. But it was a thing about it though. Like, if they were having kids, it was a shameful thing, you know. Like, if a woman went out there and the man, they had a kid, they had a baby, and they went and got somebody pregnant at 14, 15, the grandma would keep the baby and they would send the woman on. They say, well, you grown now. You done popped your cherry, you done fucked up school, go on to the big city somewhere, get a job. And they used to leave that kid with grandma, and grandma continued to raise that kid. Raised him because he wanted to give that kid value. So hopefully the kid didn't make the same mistake the mama made, because the mama was hot. She had to get out there and do her stuff. Them facts. I got aunties that did that right now. I won't say no names.
Yeah.
You know, uh,
Yeah.
then you had, like, because in our family, people had kids out of wedlock, and they would go and they made mistakes. People understood they made mistakes, and they would just raise their kids the
It's
right
taking
way.
responsibility. It's taking
Exactly.
responsibility and ownership, because the thing that I don't think people are understanding is the responsibility that comes
Right.
with what it is that they doing. You know what
But
I'm saying? They want to make those kids everybody else's problem. You know,
but you wasn't celebrating it. You see,
exactly.
you wasn't celebrating it in church. You wasn't having big baby showers. Now you wasn't doing. Now these kids have having a baby, and the mama, the grandmama, everybody, they celebrating that. So
Yeah.
if you celebrating that on the first one, hell, you might as well, you're gonna celebrate it on the second one, celebrate it on the third one, and then you just keep on telling the kid to just
It's
keep
okay.
on having babies
Yeah.
But
under your
as a mother,
circumstances that you in, that you at the church. They don't even preach about adultery and having babies and stuff like that, because they want to keep that money rolling in. So they ain't gonna say nothing. So nobody says nothing. nobody teaches you nothing. And if your parents ain't teaching you that you out here tripping, or you out here laying up and you made a mistake, and I'ma forgive you and I love you, but God damn it, stop doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Somebody gotta do that. You know, somebody gotta bring it just like that. And don't nobody want to bring it like that.
And
Everybody
what
want to hold you. Everybody's sensitive. If
and
you
it,
these
if it,
kids,
go ahead.
100%. I need to. This just me. They need discipline.
right,
100%.
Yeah.
They
right,
need some ass whoopings and all of that
right,
shit. They
But the
need their
parents
video
ain't got
game.
discipline. The
But
parents ain't got
right,
discipline. They ain't grew all the way up yet. They ain't even fully mature yet.
but that's the sad part. And it's like it's bad for these kids because at the end of the day, they're gonna end up in foster care because you gotta think about it. It's kids that be doing stupid stuff. So say for instance, they stand in the project. Say for instance, me and you friends, and I'm young. Just say for instance, we like 10 or 12. And I go get my daddy gun and I come to you with the strap.
Right,
Hey, I
because
found
daddy
the
ain't
strap,
got a
bro.
gun safe.
You feel me? Let's start playing. You feel me? Let's
Daddy
start
ain't got
playing
a
with the
gun safe.
mud. Then look, you go tell your mama we get taken away, but nigga had the gun too. You get taken away too. It's like, look, we getting the kids taken away because of curly shit that excuse my French, but curly stuff that's going on with the adults or the as supposed to be they parents. Or it don't even have to be the parent. It could be my mama boyfriend or my mama friend left this over here curlish acts.
Facts. I know people right now. I would never say names, but I know people right now that'll have kids running around their house and guns is out. You know what I'm
And
saying?
it's
And that's the
ridiculous.
stuff that I'm talking. And that's the stuff that I'm talking about. It's just like if you got a kid or if you did something, cool. We ain't gonna beat you over the head, but you gotta grow the fuck up now. You don't get to be that little kid no more.
exactly,
You need to
exactly.
grow the fuck up. We
It
we
ain't about you no more.
it ain't
It's about
about
that
you no
child.
more. And everybody is just like, well, I gotta live my life. Well, I gotta live my life. Well, guess what? You also have to own up to the shit that you did in your life, just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to fully take responsibility for what it is that you doing. You having kids, you can't afford them. You having kids, you can't put a roof over their heads. You ain't got no way to raise them. You got 2, 3, 4 jobs. You know what I'm saying? You ain't thinking about how to improve your life. You know what I'm saying? And that was the difference. Like my daddy said, it's just like in the old days, it's just like, well, you went to go have a kid, do what you gotta do. And people ain't saying, do what you gotta do. We say, okay, let's have this gender reveal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, nah, your kid's running around dumb as shit. I'm sorry. Your kid's dumb as hell. You ain't even got time. You got 2, 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? You who knows what your baby daddy doing? If he there, if he not there, if he grew all the way up, you know what I'm saying? If he just there for the presence alone, like it requires way more to be a mother and a father than to be physically breathing and present.
100. And at the end of the day, a reason why a lot of the crime, a reason why a lot of the niggas is in the street, and the reason why a lot of these girls are
Say it.
fast asses
Say
is
it.
because it ain't no they don't have both parents. It's not even a simple fact of both parents. It's just that the parents allowing this or you. It's just like there's only one party. So a parent could a female can only raise like as me as a man. I feel like both parties need to be there present, especially if a female has a boy. A man needs to be there to tell that boy right from wrong, as opposed to a female has to raise a daughter to tell her right from wrong. But
Yeah,
they both have to be in their right mindset, though.
absolutely. I couldn't get away with shit in my childhood. I couldn't get away. Me and my brother could not get away with a goddamn thing. Why? Cause you got out of school at 2:30 and dad was gonna be there at 3. We couldn't get away with shit. Homework was getting done. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
If I
yeah.
went over my friend's house, they knew exactly where I was, how long I was gonna be there. When the sun went down, I knew where I was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? We knew what time it was. Like we was really out here getting raised. And it's kids out here that really ain't getting raised. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you that single parent with 3 kids, and this is no shade. We know it's hard. Like, it's not a bad thing. We just literally trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest about what comes with what it is that's on your plate. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you got the oldest baby watching the 2 kids while you making your moves.
I was about to make a comment, but I can't even say it because then it would implant more kids because niggas would get bored quick. But I was about to say, take away Wi-Fi and bring back 3G dial-up stuff that we grew up with to appreciate the outdoors, to appreciate the stuff that we had. We didn't have the media, we didn't have all of that. Give back them retro games or whatever. But at the end of the day, the way the society is now, it's gonna be too many babies being made and stuff like that. So
Nah,
don't even do that.
nah, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's
You
true.
think
'Cause
that you think that it would
I
take
think
it? You
no, I think it's parents that do just fine with all of this technology. I think it's parents that do just fine, but they have to be mature enough to be parents.
But you got to think of the parents that's being parents that can't even take care of their own kid, that's out here looking up videos just to take care of a child. Looking up the littlest things to do to take care of a child.
At least you trying. I'll give
You
it that.
trying,
At
I
least you
give you
trying.
that. You trying, but it's like it's making it harder for you.
I mean, yeah. But see, the thing is, my thing is, I ain't gonna knock the person that's trying. I'm not gonna knock the person that's trying to do better. My thing is for the person that don't give a fuck. That's who I'm talking to. If you got 2, 3 jobs, you doing the best that you can, you relying on your village, you understand that you made the decisions that you made and you trying to fix them now, ain't nobody trying to beat you up for that. We talking about the people who are literally, you know what I'm saying? You ain't making sure your kid homework getting done. You don't know what the fuck they got going on in that iPhone. Your only thing is to make sure that they got J's on and an iPhone and these chains on. You don't give a fuck if they can read, if they can write, if they, you know what I'm saying, if they emotionally
But
stable, none of that. That's who I'm talking to. The people that got kids and ain't invested in raising them. They think that the only thing, like I said in my last episode with Donald, they think the thing to have kids is to put them in nice clothes and take pictures with them on holidays. Nah, buddy, that's not being a parent. It's way more than being a parent than that.
true.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of them like that.
Yeah.
Your parents are your friends.
Yeah,
That's retarded.
yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Because I don't give a shit about nobody being my friend.
You sure
You
don't.
know,
Fat.
He ain't lying to you right there. Cause like I
because
said,
because you be putting your kids in the grave as they friend if you don't fucking teach them. You know.
Man, that's crazy because I want to do it. I'm actually on YouTube. I ain't even did the video yet, but it's something that happened in St. Louis. It was a boy who went missing. This actually happened like I think like last month or whatever. A boy went missing, and the dude they killed him. His mama found him, and 2 days later, the dude who killed him ended up killing his mama and got on live was like this woman. I'm not gonna say what he said, but he was like this woman came and found she trying to find her son. I just put both of y'all. Now you laying next to your son. So I'm finna do a reaction to the video. I didn't watch the whole video, but I watched half of it because people keep sending it to me to do a reaction. So I'm about to do it. It's a case that happened in St. Louis, and St. Louis has became murder capital, and y'all have the first 48 out there.
ain't it crazy? But you know
The
what?
first 48. And the crazy in the first episode that dropped for the first 48 was my homegirls. They got killed. They ended up getting killed in the drive-by. 2 innocent girls got killed in the drive-by. That was the first episode of First 48. First 48 is in St. Louis. So that was the first episode. They did the murder suicide, the one that happened with the one that we was talking about with the twin sister. They did that one.
Wow.
Uh they did that one, and I don't know which one happened in this week, but whatever murder that happened in St. Louis, whichever one they pick up, but the first 48 is in St. Louis, and everybody acting like that's the best thing. And niggas from St. Louis like, yeah, we on the map. We got the first 48, and we top of the line in murder capital. We got first 48, and we #1 in the world. They talking about niggas can't touch us, like niggas is posting and stuff like St. Louis on
Are
the
you
map.
serious?
Yes, I promise you, when we went #1 for the most dangerous cities in America, St. Louis, Missouri is #1. They talking about, yeah, niggas can't mess with us. We the dangerous city. They reposting it, and they talking about we on the first 48. So come mess with us.
Hey, look, cuz we #2 now. Hey, look, cuz we #2 now. Why don't you go shoot them 2 niggas on the corner so we get that #1 spot back?
That crazy. What kind
They'll
of
do that though.
backwards
They'll
logic
do
is
that
this?
though. They'll do that though. You got to think about it. Them niggas will do that. Hey man, we got to keep that rank up. We got to keep that, and we've been that way for 5 years straight, and nobody is trying to change that. How? Like,
Wow,
what was it? 2021 New Year's. How y'all had 12 homicides in 24 hours between New Year's and New Year's Day? Come on,
Hey,
really?
hey, look, we getting into a whole nother a topic, you know what I'm
but
saying?
that's what you wanted. You just wanted to fly off. That's what we do.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said anything
Nah,
that come.
nah. It just opens the door for a part 2, in my opinion. That's all that
I
does.
mean, it's a part too. I mean,
Cause that's a conversation right there, because that logic right there is something that I need to dig into, because that just don't make no sense to me whatsoever. But it's real life though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
and it's 100%,
It's real life though.
and
It's
it's not nothing to be proud about. But niggas
hell
act like
no.
that is good, and it's not. It's
We
bad,
be
and you
proud
gotta
of all
think,
of the wrong shit. We
and it's
celebrate
crazy.
all the wrong shit. That's my point. Like, we celebrate all of the wrong shit. We celebrate all of the shit that makes our lives harder than it has to be. We celebrate all of the shit that puts us in a direction opposite of where we want to go. And then we want to walk around like it ain't nothing out here for us. It's the decisions that we make. It's the way that we choose to live our lives. It's the things that we choose to celebrate. Shit, it's us. Don't nobody need to oppress us no more. We do not
I
need
know.
help. We don't need help.
Like I tell everybody at the end of the day, where we stay is the trenches for real, bro. Like for real, for real, for real.
Look, okay, because folks, I remember when I moved down here, it would be people that be like, "You from St. Louis? Ooh, like you from St. Louis? Ooh,
Yeah,
must be hard." It'd be like, "Huh?"
Dallas love St. Louis, but one thing they I think they scared of St. Louis, but Dallas loves St. Louis, but I think they scared. Cause you be like, you from St. Louis, you be like, they reaction be like, oh, y'all niggas don't play out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You be riding through
And I
hoods
be
down here, it don't
telling
even feel
niggas
like
like,
you in the
we'll turn
hood.
up. I be like, Dallas big. Unless you go towards Oak Cliff.
Bruh, it's places in it, bruh. It's place, man. You go down here, the hood don't even seem like the hood. Be like, this is the hood, this the worst y'all got?
Nope. And it be beautiful. It be semi beautiful and
Yeah,
Mexican everywhere.
yeah. It be manicured and shit. It be like, oh, be like,
One thing
oh.
about Texas, yep. One thing about Texas, they beauty is what it is.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. But on that note, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We might have to go ahead and do a part 2 at some point. But hopefully y'all like this episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed us talking about a little bit about where we came from, and you know what I'm saying? And if it's anything that y'all curious about, feel free to look it up. Share y'all thoughts, leave comments. You know what I'm saying? We here for all of that, you know what I'm saying? So on that note, I want to thank both of y'all, Dad and Ashton, for coming through and spending some time with me today. I definitely appreciate it. I'm glad that we got to have this conversation. And yeah, on that note, Ashton, you want to let people know where to find you on social media?
Y'all can find me at Facebook at Ashton Stone Vapor Davy, and Instagram is MG0417, and at YouTube at Ashton Stone. I mean at Stone Vapor Gamer.
All right, bet. And if you're looking for me, you can find me at MarissaY17 on Instagram, Marissa the Thinker on Facebook and YouTube. And then you can find Thinker versus Speaker at Thinker versus Speaker on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Dad, I already know you don't want to share your social media. So on that note, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up unless y'all got something else for the people.
No, I was gonna say, don't look for me if I don't look for you. But hey, but two other famous people I was thinking about, we was talking about, it was Ike Turner and Chuck Berry from St. Louis. So if the people following you and they want to drop some famous people from St. Louis that we forgot, put it in the comment.
That's a good
That's
point.
all I got to say. All right, have a good one. Hey, nice to meet you, bro. Good talking with you.
Sir.
All right.
All right, cool. Ready, y'all. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.